Hello, ArcTech. This is Heather Newton reviewing your entry in the Social Deduction Challenge, Fruit for All. Let's first start by looking at your hero image and logo above the fold on your shop page. I think you've done a good job of choosing a good background image to complement your logo image. Some other people I've given feedback that I wouldn't do a full bleed here. I would do like a transparent PNG. But I think because you have chosen a different texture for this square image, and it's the only place you're saying fruit for all, and you have the same colors over here, but it's a different pattern, it keeps it from being really distracting to have a full bleed image here. So I think in this case it's all right, and it doesn't cover up anything that's important. The words that you have are on the other side, and they kind of balance that out design-wise. And then you have a picture of all of your different fruits and your monkey. So it is, and it looks very fun, light. It looks like something that would be fun to play maybe on a vacation, on a beach somewhere. It definitely has that sunny, fun, light feel, which I like. And then I think you've done a good job with your cool factors and making them specific to your game, what's specifically interesting about your game. Looks like we have a image error here, just to point out there. You probably want to get that fixed. And I think it's great to be able to include images in this area. So yeah, it would be good to see what that's meant to be. And you say clearly it's a last person standing, so it does have player elimination, which can be a drawback for a lot of people, but it looks like it's the kind of game that's really quick, and maybe it's engaging to keep watching other people. Maybe you start rooting for someone else, like for the person who knocked you out to lose, for example. And then the statement that you need to balance bluffing and building trust. And then we have a how to play video here that was great to have and helpful. I gave a bonus point for anybody who made a how to play video because that's not required for entering the contest, but it definitely helps anyone, both me as the judge or anybody considering purchasing a game as you continue developing it. If you decide to list it for purchase, I think it helps people tell whether or not they'd like the game, whether or not they're understanding the rules correctly, if you can have a how to play video on the shop page. So that's great. And then let's look at your box. This is a card game only, so you're able to fit it in a tuck box. And this looks like a pretty cool, well-designed box or graphic design for a box. It totally looks like a package of juicy fruit, which I think would be captivating to people, or they'd want to know what is this all about. So that's great. I don't see any stats for, well, maybe it says it right there in light text, but I can't quite read it from here, so I might be misspeaking. But I'd like to see player count and length of time somewhere on the outer package for the game. And let's look at, and we see you got an art test accolade, which is great and makes sense because it looks like a very finished product. And we're looking at the action shots here at the bottom. I think you did a good job of showing it in play. Really cool. Wow, it's hard for me to even tell for sure if this, I think this is a mock-up, but it might actually be a photograph. I don't know. If it's a mock-up, it's a very realistic looking mock-up. And then also, yeah, actual faces of people playing is great too, that you have that. And nothing where I'm getting frustrated and I can't finish parsing the image or I can't read what's going on. So I think that's great. Now let's look at your rules. Okay, so these rules don't have a lot of diagrams or anything, but you have put an effort into getting your font consistent and putting a little bit of color into the text, so that's good. I think it would be nice if you could add some maybe some diagrams here where it says, I'm missing the spot. There's a place where it says what beats what. I could see that being a perfect place for a quick reference diagram of the pictures of the fruit in your rulebook. But overall, this looks very approachable and easy to teach. So I am looking forward to testing it out in the finals. This is one that was chosen as a finalist. And it was kind of a close call between this one and a couple of others. One concern I have with this that made me wonder if I think it's going to be able to win in the end is that it's kind of borderline social deduction. It feels more like a clear straight-on bluffing game, but bluffing and social deduction are so closely related that I didn't think it was so far from social deduction that it really disqualified itself. Although I'm not sure how classically social deduction it's going to feel when actually playing. I think it's really going to depend on what these objectives are. It reminds me most of all of any game that I've played of something called Outlawed by Green Couch Games, where you choose which persona you want to be from the card decks, and you put it down and you say, I'm so-and-so. And by saying that, intrinsically, it means you hope somebody else teams up with you or something like that, but you might be completely lying. So it feels like and from playing that game, it's a really neat game, and it does kind of have hidden objectives, but I'm not sure if I would have. I didn't put it on the shelf with my social deduction games. Let's just put it that way. So I don't know how this is going to play out when I actually play it with my play testers, if they're going to balk at calling this a social deduction game, but it felt like there definitely is going to be some persuasion, which is an overlap with social deduction. That's definitely a huge part of what you're doing. And then calling people out for having ulterior motives and telling you that they were going to do one thing or that they wanted one thing from you and actually wanting the opposite, and being tricky like that. I could see how it could have very similar fun moments once we actually play it out, of arguments and, oh, I knew you were lying, and that sort of thing that I'm looking for in a good social deduction game. So again, this is a finalist in the social deduction contest, and I am looking forward to seeing how it plays out and wish you luck going forward. Hey there, thanks for watching. Be sure to check the description for more information and links to helpful resources. Some links will give me a commission if you choose to buy, and I sure do appreciate the support. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.